Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Photography is the way I record my life and the moments I want to remember. That's pretty much the answer, I guess, for everyone. But, have you ever read Proust? It's a way to stimulate many memories by one little thing stimulating many memories. It's like what Proust writes about. And that's what it means to me. It's a stimulation for a flood of memories.
That's great. Russell Little. First of all, welcome to the podcast. We're going to get to address, we're given like a limited bucket of seconds, of conscious seconds of life. And then how do we make every second count? How do we make the most of life? I love that you start off by quoting Proust. What a great way to start, because yes, how do we capture times that are past? And
whoa, you're a Proust reader. There's nothing better than connecting with another Proust reader.
Well, okay. So first of all, just to listen, the first time we've met, I have no idea about you. All I know is that you're in a room where behind you is a painting that looks kind of Dada-esque, or there's a cubist.
It's a cubist.
Yep. So clearly, you know your art. I find that very, very fascinating. And yeah, look, I'm here to learn about you and to share, how do you make sense of the world? And really nice to meet you. So welcome.
I'm really excited to meet you. When I saw that you were in Hong Kong, I was very excited about it. I loved Hong Kong. I loved my time in that part of the world. I have been over there several times.
Oh, wow.
Not Hong Kong. I've only been there once, but in East Asia.
Yeah.
We've been several times. I just love it.
Yeah, nice. So I'm a fan of accents and I love meeting people. Now, in your case, I don't know where you are. So where are you in the Eastern time zones of the USA, North America, okay. South America?
This terrible accent of mine that I've never been able. But some people can escape their accents, and some of us can't. And I genetically cannot escape my accent. This is a West Texas accent.
Nice.
But right now, I live in the hills of Georgia, which is just beautiful. I live on the side of a mountain, next to a stream.
Nice.
Under a forest. It's beautiful.
Just so that you know, I often come to Savannah because my sister lives there. My parents have a house
and
there.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep. Very similar weather to Hong Kong, actually.
Yes.
Okay, well, look, let's dive into your photos because I'm dying to learn about you. Nice to meet you, Russell. Let's go.
It's great to meet you.
So I have to describe what I see, right? So it's a photo. Is that you on the camel?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So it's a photo that's from the image quality. I would say that it may have been a old digital photo or maybe a print photo. It's you a little younger in the tooth, wearing out in the bright desert, sitting on a camel. Let's see, you're wearing black pants, which is insane because you're in the desert. You're wearing a chest shirt, sunglasses, looking really fly. You have a backpack on. You're kind of looking back at the photographer who's on a camel taking a photo of you on the camel. If I had to guess, I'd say the Sinai Peninsula. I don't know.
The Wadi Rum. The Wadi Rum. I was drunk on life that day. We rode camels across the Wadi Rum Desert. And in fact, do you ever see Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah.
The movie?
Yep.
Remember when he is riding the camel across the Wadi Rum and he says, I'm the man that broke the bank at Monte Carlo?
Right.
Remember when he says?
Yep.
I was riding a camel there across the Wadi Rum with those big cliffs on the side.
Amazing.
Actually sang that song while I was riding the camel. There was another man with me that was singing it with me because we were both
Nice.
drunk on life, and it did echo. Now, not like they accentuated it in the movie,
Yeah.
but it did echo the song. It was an amazing day.
So just because, okay, I need you to assume I'm an idiot, even though I know my Proust and my Cubist painting. What country were you in, and what year was this?
It was 5 years ago, before
Oh,
the
okay.
pandemic.
Wow. Okay.
It was in the Jordanian desert, close to the Saudi Arabian border. It's the Wadi Rum desert that the Arab army was camped in their battle against Turkey during World War One.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Why start with this photo then?
Because that's one, you know, those moments that you always dream of, but you never really expect to get to live. This is one of those moments. It's what you were talking about. We get just a few seconds to live. Our time is short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, time is long and our lives are short. We get a few seconds. And I'm a big believer in you got to squeeze every bit of juice out of this life you can.
Mm. Wow.
And it's like the poem, "Do not go gentle in the good night.
Mm-hmm.
Rage, rage against the dying of the light." Right?
Yep.
You got to squeeze every moment. This was one of those moments where I squeezed hard. I got juice out of life that I didn't ever expect to get. It was a great day.
Okay. I don't know what you feel about names and naming. Your name is Russell Little. No, you're Russell Big. Like you're Russell Huge. Look at you. Yeah, this is great. I love it. I love it. So what is shaping your thought? Because to have this sensitivity, you're the consequence of your experience. Why? What did you study? What did you do as work? Like, why is this part of who you are? That you're just like, I have to squeeze all the juice out of this lemon. Like, what is this?
It's it comes from my whole life. I've always believed that I had to continue pressing the ceiling of my abilities and my knowledge and my mind for more. I
Nice.
never have been satisfied with what I had. And frankly, Marcus Aurelius wrote about it 2,000 years ago
Yep.
about you must keep learning until the mind goes. You don't have until the end of your life because your mind starts decreasing even before that. You have until then. You have little time. You must take advantage of all your time. I've always believed that.
Wow.
And that's been my life.
Wait a second. So when you were a kid, like what shaped you to be that way? Because so for example, like in my case, right? Like I've had three near death experiences. Ever since I was a little kid, I was always kind of energetic and bouncy and also committed to learning and pushing the edge and all this stuff. Not pushing the edge, but living, really living. So where does this come from in you?
I think it came from being a little boy. I could not speak until I had two learning disabilities. Okay.
Okay.
So I couldn't speak till the second grade. I had to go to speech classes to learn how to speak where somebody else could understand me.
Mm.
And I had ADHD. So I would start every year behind everyone else because during the summer I'd forget everything I'd learned and I
Wow.
would have to work my way to catch up every year. And by the third grade, one of the counselors told my mother that she should make me read the newspaper every day. I should
Mm-hmm.
read the news to help me read to catch up. And I wound up reading the opinion page every day. So I was a third grade kid, 9 years
In West
old,
Texas.
seven in West Texas, which was and I would read the opinion page about politics. and social contentions every day. That's what I read.
That's amazing.
And I came from a blue collar family, but I was reading about worlds that I was not in, but I wanted to be in.
That's amazing.
And between that and having to fight to catch up every year at school, I was constantly in a battle. And I never quit fighting. I just continued the battle with myself. I think that's where it came from.
You are an interesting human. We're talking, we just met. I'm looking at a photo of you on a camel. Interestingly enough, camels originally came from what part of the world? Do you know where camels originated from?
Well, I was going to say, I know that this is a trap question now, so I'm going to give you a trap answer and
Sure.
say China.
Nope. Between North and South America, the Americas. So basically, camels evolved in the Americas and crossed the land bridge into China and then down into like the hotter climates, the Middle East and Africa. So that's like, born in the USA. So that's kind of funny. So, but I also find it fascinating that behind you is that a print or is that an actual painting?
That's an actual painting. It's a cubist.
Yes. Who's the painter? Do you know, or is it more of a contemporary painter?
I don't know the painter, but I know who the painter is. He's actually signed his name, and that's the joke. It's a
Okay.
Brandt.
Okay.
And you're like, who the hell is that? My answer is it's nobody. When we moved to the hills of Georgia, we're going through this antique store, right? Because we're mid-century American. We have a taste for mid-century American. We
Right.
like to decorate our home like madmen,
Yep.
right, from the 60s. That's the way
Yep.
we decorate our home. And we came across this painting on the wall, an antique store in Georgia. And my wife and I were like, we love it.
How random. Yeah, it's amazing.
Right. And and the joke is the guy signed it Brandt. Okay. Thank you, Brandt.
Now, as a okay, so so you quoted Proust, right? Which was great. And as an arts literary type person, my greatest aesthetic influence was just because in terms of the one that shaped me the most would be Marcel Duchamp, right? Marcel Duchamp.
You have a French education. That's what that means.
Well, I grew up in Montreal, but I went to university in
So
Montreal.
you do have a French education.
It is a little French, but not French from France. It is just Quebec.
So did you read Proust in French, not English?
I did not. Well, I read a little bit of Proust. I didn't read his work is monumental, right? And so
Yes, I've read it all.
wow, okay. Well, it's so funny that we met because this is not bullshit. This is totally true that I was actually
It's
thinking.
okay if it's bullshit too.
No, but it's not. But this is totally true. That I was actually thinking of Marcel Proust in the bathroom this morning, because I don't know why it is, but I have this not obsession, but this deep value of making every second count, of really living life, right, and packing it all in. Like I'm really
We're
all
brothers.
about that. Right.
We're brothers. And all four of these pictures that you asked me to send you you will see that's the theme.
Okay.
We're
Well,
brothers.
because you said that's the theme, brother, we're going to move on to the next photo. What I have in my folder is a photo of you with sunglasses, not wearing a hat, but like a kind of a I don't know, a bandana of sorts. You're with a woman who's also smiling at the photographer, wearing glasses. You're on the ski hill, because behind you, out of focus, is you can just see some pines. There's blue sky with a bit of cloud, but you can definitely see the packed snow. And this looks like alpine, like skiing, like skiing, not cross-country skiing. The sun is hitting you. It looks like afternoon light. It's coming from from the side. You're wearing a sort of a kind of blue-gray coat, and the woman, I mean, you guys are in each other's personal space, so I would assume you guys know each other very well. She's wearing a kind of a plum kind of jacket. Okay, Russell, what is this?
Are you a writer?
What?
That was
Me?
a beautiful description. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful description. It was the listeners know exactly what you're looking at. That was great.
Oh, thank you. Or listen to you. You're great. Okay, thank you. I do write, yes. So what am I looking at? Why is this important?
I'm standing next to my wife of 41 years.
Ah, respect.
We are snow skiing in Crested Butte, Colorado, 14,000 feet. We have all three of our children with us. They're all adult children.
Yep.
They're all over 30 and spouses. And that picture represents to me, okay, I was about 64 when I took this picture, when this picture was taken. I spent the day, that whole day, with the exception of the moments when this picture was made, actually with my youngest adult son, who was 30 years old. We skied the mountain, and the joke behind this was a few weeks before this, I had been on the racquetball court and thought I was really looking great and tearing everybody up, and I walked off the court, and this older man said, "That's pretty good for a man your age." So
Okay.
I told my kids that, and we laughed. And my son so my son and I are skiing down the mountain, and he made the comment, "I hope a man your age can stay with me." And I skied him into the ground that day. And the whole day I was waiting for him at the bottom of the mountain when he came down and said, "You can't even keep up with a man my age."
Okay. I have to interrupt. Okay, I'm a shitty host in a way because I interrupt. I don't ask questions.
I want
I just
to.
okay. So I'm 51 and I do Muay Thai and I do lots of sports. I do jiu-jitsu. I do lots of cycling, and I thoroughly believe in the importance of hard physical effort. I love the fact that you schooled your son. You know, good for you. Well done.
And I hope he's listening to this.
and
David?
So David, no, respect, okay? This is not personal. The other thing that I love is that we're talking skiing. I'm from Montreal, Canada, right? Where 6 months of the year it's for cheesing, right? It's and so snowboarding, skiing, that whole thing, that's my baseline, right? That's my happy comfort place.
It's one of my baselines too, brother.
And I love the fact that as you're saying this, it's coming with a West Texas accent that is just so great.
By the way, West Texas is only 5 hours from the Rockies.
Okay. So you see, yeah, take me to school. I'm an idiot. Okay. Nice.
So 5 hours from where I grew up, you're at Taos, which is the steepest ski slopes in North America.
Oh, geez. Okay. I had no idea. Amazing. And I love the fact, like, so would you describe yourself? I've been described as a romantic, okay? Because I'm all about sensation and really steeping myself in feeling and just the goodness of life and all that stuff. Even when life is around me is really awful. So when I hear you talk and I see this photo and I just get your vibe, like, what is your relationship to love?
Okay, this is a paradox, right? Here we go. I practiced for 40 years divorce law in Houston, Texas.
What?
And people didn't hire me to have nice divorces. People hired me for war.
Right.
Right.
You are a
Sometimes
paradox.
people would hire me to talk them out of getting married.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the thing is, in fact, my wife used to hate this joke. I used to tell her my job was to love together. Not old love, but new love. She hated that joke. So that's the paradox. I have all this romantic stuff, but for 41 years, it's because I love the courtroom and I love the battle.
Who
It's a
who
rush.
are you, Russell? Who are
It's
you?
a rush.
What? Who are you?
Yes.
You know,
It's
I
a
have no.
rush.
Okay. So for the listener, the face I'm looking at is this man with this really beautiful gray beard. You got your glasses. You're red faced. You have like you're beaming. We're looking at these images of you living life to the full. I project onto you like, oh, of course, Proust and Cubism and all this stuff. And I'm just like, of course, you must be this and that. Like, what's your response to love? And you're just like, well, I'm a lawyer and my brain works like this and you know nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. This is amazing. Okay, so wait. So, okay, are you a writer?
Yes. In fact, I have one book out that we just set out a second edition. It's Murder for Me. It's a murder thriller. And what I'm really excited about is in October, I have another one coming out, Murder by Storm. And why I'm excited about it was, I've been living most of my life raising my children in Houston. I've actually ridden out 5 hurricanes.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
have you ever ridden out a hurricane?
So in Hong Kong, they have typhoons, which is a hurricane.
I
Just a
know.
different part of the world. So
Yes. It
uh,
goes the other way.
exactly, super typhoons. So yeah, I've seen my share of destruction. One of the guests I had years ago was one of his photos was about Hurricane Harvey. So take
I
it from
lived
there.
through Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
I lived through it. I lived downtown in a high rise during Harvey,
Oh wow.
where they took the refugees center was across the park. So for the 5 to 7 days the hurricane sat on top of Houston, I would
Yeah.
walk across the park every day and help the refugees. It changed my life. And
Oh
then
wow.
after the hurricane left, I spent weeks re-gutting uh, people's strangers' homes that had
Yep.
no family to help them, no friends to help them, and we would gut their homes so that they could start the repair. And
Yes.
just complete strangers. It changed my life.
Right.
And so when I was writing the sequel to my novel, I wanted to record all the amazing things that I saw, witnessed, and was involved in during the Hurricane Harvey.
Oh
So I
wow.
put them in the book.
Okay. Okay.
So the book is a murder thriller during a hurricane.
Wow. Wow.
So all the amazing stuff I saw, like when you see a manhole explode and a water fountain come exploding out of the manhole 2 stories high, that's
Wow.
something you don't forget that, and
No,
you don't
no.
want to forget it. And so I wanted to write about it, or the way complete strangers all over a city just helps each other and risk themselves to help other. That moves your soul,
No, for
and
sure.
it's something I wanted to record. So I put it in the book.
Amazing. Okay, so I've been to Houston once. Houston. Yeah, that was a really good week I had of kind of just exploring. My friend who was on the podcast, who, basically talked about his house being damaged and having strangers come in and help him gut his house and build it. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that was you. Who knows? And okay, so as we're saying this, and I'm getting excited by talking to you because I love your energy. I'm looking at the photo of you and your wife smiling in the sun, skiing. Okay, how do we go back to that photo and say, I mean, when I asked you at first to describe it, it was basically you said, well, it's because I took David to school and I taught him about how even at my age, I'm putting that in quotes, you can still kick some butt, right? Be it on the squash court or while skiing. So,
It's like Dylan Thomas. It's when I quoted Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle in the good night.
yeah.
Yeah, that's David's father raging against the dying of the light. I'm going to, until they have to carry me down a mountain, I'm going to enjoy every moment of it.
Right. I love it. I love it. Yeah, look, we are truly brothers. Do you have any siblings?
I have three sisters.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm your older brother. So my mentality, my psychology is
You're my younger brother, maybe my son.
now hold on a second. That's if you look at things chronologically. But in terms of my
Yeah.
what my character is like, I like my caring disposition, my empathy or whatever is I relate to people as if I was their older brother, even though I'm younger or whatever. So one of my longest clients at work was one of the founders of DHL. He's in his 70s, clearly older, mentor. But I think one of the reasons why we got along really well was that my relationship, my way of relating to him was that he was my younger brother in terms of the care, in terms of the
Okay, well, that's just beautiful. That's
oh,
beautiful.
oh. Well, okay. So first of all, this is going to be a really out there question. Does your wife have a name?
Melinda.
Melinda, thank you. Okay, so Melinda is in the photo with you. You guys are just kidding. How often do you guys? I mean, you've been married. You said 41, 40,
41 years.
41 years. Nice.
And I was a divorce lawyer.
I know, and you was a divorce lawyer. I love it. I love it. Okay. So you now live in Georgia together, I assume. So how do you guys make every second count on the side of this hill in Georgia?
Well, we're still traveling. Like, there's still places that we need to go. I need to be. Like, we spent October in Japan.
Oh, nice.
It was the first time I've ever been to Japan. Tokyo. And the thing about Japan, it's a lot like China. If you're from America, you read
Yep.
about it, you think you know it, you think
Right.
you may even be a snob about how much you know about it. You don't know it till you're there, till
Of
you see the
course.
people, you get your hands in the mud, you
Yep.
and it looks the same, but it's not. It's
No,
completely different. But the subtlety and the subtle ways that it's completely different. The only way you're going to know it is if you're in it,
I agree.
and that was true about China. It was true about India. It's true about most places I've gone. And I got to tell you, I was stunned at what I thought I knew and I had no idea about
Oh,
Japan.
for sure. Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't know, but I thought I was an expert before I went.
How sweet. Well, okay,
It
let's move
is
on to the
sweet.
next.
It's a
Yeah.
sweet taste.
It's a sweet naivete. Well, okay, let's move on to the next photo.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of China. Okay, so it's a photo of you and your wife together close by yourselves, really. I don't see any other people on the Great Wall. So probably not, it's probably not the common parts of the Great Wall, but now I assume it's the Great Wall because that's what I just think it looks like. It looks somewhat rehabilitated in terms of the brickwork around you guys, but it's clearly a wall that goes off into the hill. Like behind you is a hill. I wouldn't call it a mountain. A hill that probably goes up, I don't know, a few hundred feet. Let's say a couple of 100 meters in elevation. You're both facing the photographer. It's a sunny day. T-shirts. You're wearing a blue jacket. You're both, yeah. So just looking full on at the photographer and clearly in China. So now wait, before we continue, what's the title of your book?
The first one was Murder for Me.
Yeah,
The second one in October is Murder by Storm.
Murder by Storm. Now we'll go back to the photo. Listen, I'm here to promote your book.
I'm not trying to promote my book. I'm into listening to you now.
Okay, so you're in China on the Great Wall. Okay, so take us on this adventure with you.
Okay. Of course, you asked about the first picture about what does it represent to you,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was talking about Proust. So this picture stimulates everything that I learned and loved, we learned and loved and experienced about China. That's
Okay.
what this picture represents. And the reason the sky is so beautifully blue
Right.
is the party was having a committee meeting in Beijing, and they had
Mm-hmm.
closed it down for a while so that the sky could clear, and we were
Mm-hmm.
there during then. So it was clear and blue. Beijing was blue sky, and when
Amazing.
we got to the Great Wall, it was a blue, beautiful sky. And there were 30 of us on the bus. We hiked up to the Great Wall. You are very perceptive in the way you described the brickwork. I thought that was the most interesting part of your description, because that was the most perceptive part of your description, because we were actually taken to where the tourists are taken to the Great
Right.
Wall, which is where they do the brickwork, correct?
Yep. Yep.
And uh, of the 30 people on the bus, 24 people turned right to go up the level part of the Great Wall, and
Yep.
six of us, my wife and I, because I've run 10 marathons,
Oh,
we're in
nice.
shape. So it was us and the four young people on the whole bus. We turned left and
Right.
we climbed the Great Wall going up the mountain, and that's
Nice.
actually a mountain because my wife's. By the time we got back down, my wife's iPhone step counter said she had climbed 80 stories. Now she
Oh,
didn't climb
nice.
80 stories, but you go up and you go down,
Yep.
and that tells you how much it was. And that was, I got to tell you, that was one that wasn't as great as the Wadi Rum,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a great, great moment in my life because we were really that was just part the icing of the Great China Adventure for us.
Nice. So how long did you guys go to China for?
3.5 weeks,
Oh, wicked, wicked, wicked. Nice.
and we went up and down the Yangtze. We went to Xi'an. A friend and I got lost in Xi'an, and we're walking down an area of town that we were not supposed to be in, and it's after dark trying to find our way back to the hotel, and people were coming out of bars to watch us walk by. It was the
Oh,
craziest thing I ever saw in my life. It was very cool. The food was spectacular. We ate street food all over China.
nice.
It was spectacular food. Uh, I have all sorts of soup dumpling opinions about different cities and
Yeah.
what I think about soup dumplings from that particular place versus like Xi'an versus Shanghai. I much prefer Shanghai dough in their soup dumplings to the Xi'an dough and what they
Okay.
put in their soup dumplings, things like that. And so it was just spectacular.
I love it. So one of the things, okay, so being in Hong Kong, I've been to China a couple of times, a few times. I loved how you described that you happened to have been there when the party was having a meeting in Beijing, so they shut down the factories so the sky could be a little bit bluer. Because yeah, so in the photo, you can see that it's a blue sky. There are no clouds in the sky. One time I went to Beijing to visit a factory, and I was there for a week. And the first half of the week happened to have been like I just when we landed or when I landed, and I went to the hotel or whatever. It was like walking in a movie set of like a post-apocalyptic. It was like everything was so sooty. It was so intense, and everybody's walking around with masks, and because there was so much dirt in the air, and so for the next couple of days, and I went to go visit a factory that made electric motorcycles. So I was just like, "What? This is just, you walk around. You're wearing a mask because you have to wear a mask. This was before the pandemic, and it was mind blowing. And then the next day, for whatever reason, crystal clear, beautiful blue sky. And I was just like, oh, wait a second. So it's funny how you just turn on the switch and it's just like the factories go off and then all of a sudden you can breathe. So I just talked. So why don't you tell us more about your experience of Beijing? Like,
Well, it's like I like Beijing was fine. Uh, the Forbidden City, I was kind of disappointed about because it seemed like a bunch of buildings put together, whereas the Summer Palace looked like
mm,
something that was made in Hollywood, kind of
right.
magical.
Yep.
I just loved it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I love the people more than anything.
Okay.
Uh, I just love the people in China. They were good and
Yep.
kind, and they wanted to try to communicate. The only trouble was we didn't speak the same language, and our hand signals that we know that represent
Yep.
something is not the hand signals they know that represent something. So you can't hand signal to each
Yep.
other. So it's so hard to communicate. And I had this thing about seeing great Buddha, great Buddha statues.
Right.
And so that was something that I was able to do there. And China is like, if you, have you watched Star Trek?
Of course. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Star Trek? Remember when there were dual universes?
Yep.
The way I think of China is it's a dual universe that looks the same.
Mm,
It appears the same, but it's different.
sure.
And it's the reason I travel. It's probably the reason you travel because unless you're actually there, you're not going to know. You're not
Of
going to
course.
know what's the same, what looks the same but is completely different, and what's not.
Right.
And there's no way. For example, in the Muslim faith, there are two measurements on an educated man. First is a book or a institutional education, but that doesn't make you an educated man. You have to also travel. That's how
Mm,
you become an educated man. I think it's right. I think the only way you can know that you don't even know that there's windows in your universe, much less being able to open it and look through it, unless you travel that those windows become available to you. They
sure.
become
I agree.
that they appear to you.
No, I totally agree.
What China there were so many windows that had never I didn't know existed, much less
Hmm.
looked through.
Right.
Plus soup dumplings.
What?
Plus soup dumplings.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm just having the cognitive dissonance of you're a divorce lawyer. And to be a lawyer is a very specific, not very specific, but it it's a way of thinking and seeing the world that is adversarial, that is
Yes.
in a way confrontational. And as a
Yes.
divorce lawyer, you're there with two people not at their finest, sometimes really not at their finest. And so that's fascinating to me because you strike me as a people person, as a person who loves life. Like, how did you end up in law, and how did your brain settle, or how did you settle in that kind of world?
Okay. Remember in the third grade when I was reading all those opinion page pieces, I was reading about politicians and
Hmm.
politics, and they were lawyers.
Right.
So I wanted to be a lawyer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's like my love of
Yep.
art stems from when I was a little boy in a blue collar home, watching Bugs Bunny and watching the operas on Bugs Bunny, like Barber of Seville.
Yes, absolutely. Those shows, that music, that score, that comedy is like epic. It's so big.
It's where I learned opera. It's where I learned the love of opera.
Amazing. Russell, brother. Okay. So, this photo, so you're both in wetsuits, neoprene, probably the 5 or 7 millimeter thickness wetsuit. The sky is a little grayish, little grayish. Your wife is wearing her sunglasses. You're not. You're smiling at the camera. It looks like a very recent photo. Could have been last week. Or maybe wrong. What else? You're on a beach. It's grayish. Is it Northern California? Oregon?
Oh my God.
Seattle?
Oh my God. No, it's Southern California, but
Okay.
you got it. I can't believe you got it.
Yeah, I'm using my eyes, and then so it's a nice selfie of you two as a couple. I guess that your wife is holding the camera in this case. Really great light, really nice moment. The water is probably a little bit cold. So are you a big wave surfer on top of everything that you do?
Okay. Goes back to your original theme,
Yeah.
right? I'm 55 years old. I've never surfed.
Mm,
It's time to learn to surf. So at
nice.
55 years old, we go to the beach, Paradise Beach, north of San Diego, and we hire personal guides because that's the life cheat on the older you get and you want to learn you want to have new experiences. One of the cheats is you hire a personal guide to help you get through it, right?
Right, of course. Well, it's like a mentor.
Right. So we hired personal guides who went out in the water with us. They had all the equipment. They went out in the water with us. And the magic of being a surfer is you got to know which wave. And
Yep.
it's not the wave that it looks like. It's not the biggest wave. It's
Yeah.
the perfect wave.
It's the right
And it
way.
and you have to know, a beginner can't pick it.
Yep.
But this guy could pick the wave, and we both got up first time, and
Nice.
we surfed all morning. And
Amazing.
by the time that this picture was made, we had surfed that morning, and I could barely stand. I was so exhausted. Well, you surf in. The trouble with being a beginner surfer is you surf too far in, right?
Right.
So you surf because someone that knows what they're doing pulls off the board while it's still a soft landing.
Yep.
A novice surfs all the way in and then hits the beach, and it hurts. And you do it over and over and over and over.
Beautifully said. So, funny story in terms of how our lives intersect or mirror or whatever. In 2004, I went with my ex to Sri Lanka to learn how to surf. And so it was like, okay, never been surfing, let's go check it out. So we're in the beach, and we took 6 lessons. It was really great, and all this whole world of surfing all of a sudden opened up. In the end, on the 6th day was the tsunami. Do you remember the 2004
Yes,
tsunami?
I know it.
Yeah, so we were
I
in
know
the
the
water.
tsunami. I'm glad to see you're here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I've actually watched the documentary on YouTube of when the
Right,
tsunami hit Sri Lanka and
right.
some of the victims talking about it. So I know all about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so that's also one of the things that feeds this idea of, we have a limited time to make every second count. And so I love the fact that you and your wife are like, okay, listen, I don't know how to surf. Let's go learn how to surf. And you do. And
Right.
in the photo, you guys look tired, but but happy. And so when you're describing like how when you're a beginning surfer, you don't quite know, you don't know how far to go in. You don't you and look, it comes with learning the language of surfing. So you brought us to this point. Now, how do you bring that all together? Like in terms of from Jordan to then I guess skiing and then the Great Wall and then now here surfing, right? So what's the bigger picture value or lesson or idea that you want to share with the world?
So we talked about squeezing the juice out of every moment we have.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius wrote about it when he said, and Seneca wrote about it when they said, Know that you're going to die. Assume you're dead now. And the rest of the time you have, get the most you can out of it. That, but intellectually, physically, get the most out of it. Because we have such a short time. And as you said yourself, you just have a few short moments. And those are what we're taking advantage of. And all four of these pictures, and actually all the stories that you shared with us today too, is it's the same thing. You and I actually live the same life. We're
Right.
trying to squeeze every moment we can out of this time because it's a short time, then we're gone.
Yeah. It's it's as profound as you want to make it, right? And it's so here's the thing that is kind of something I'm wrestling with, and then maybe I'd love to hear your take on it. As people who fill every day with epic, not epic, but with, so for example, on the door of my apartment, it's a quote from somebody famous. I can't remember who. It's like Helen Keller or somebody like that, and it's basically that life is an epic adventure. How are you going to live your life? But the thing is, like, when we fill our lives with all of these epic moments, after a while, how do you not disentangle, but like sometimes, I don't know if this is something you're facing. Sometimes I feel like there's so much going on inside that it's almost overwhelming, because the value of packing it all in a way is like, so for example, when you go travel, like, in China, right? So you see all these things that make your head pop. And then, so how do you separate all the, like, in the moment, you're present and you're living and you're excited and you're learning and you're expanding. But then afterwards, how do you separate those moments to give them the time and or do you? I don't know. I mean, is there a question in there? I don't even know.
Okay, well, there's 2 points. The first point is, I'm going to answer it with the story.
Please.
And that is, we used to travel with another couple, and they would want, like, we'd go to Paris, and there was like 14 things they had to do that day to see. We're not those people.
Right.
We're the people that see 2 or 3 spectacular things. We go to the Louvre. You hire a guide so you can squeeze as much time out of it. Remember, that's the life cheat,
Yep.
right? I'm always doing the life cheats. But about 3 o'clock, it doesn't matter what we haven't seen, because there are going to be things that we will never see, and that's okay. There are going to be things you don't remember, that I don't remember about China, or you don't remember about surfing in Sri Lanka. There's going to be things you don't remember about it. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
What you do remember will be great. And what we didn't see in Paris, we're not worried about, because at 3 o'clock, we're going to go find a sidewalk cafe and have a glass of wine and sit down and meet some people and watch people walk by and enjoy our day.
Nice.
And so the answer is, you don't worry about that. You're in the moment. You soak as much of it in as you can. And then you go on and to the next part of your life, because there's so many parts of our life. You have your family. I have 3 adult kids. I have grandkids. I have a wife that I love. We have all those things. I have my writing career. I had my legal career.
Amazing.
You enjoy your life.
Brother.
Plus, what are the next things that, you're trying to conquer? Like, physically. There has to be a point where you say, okay, there's enough of that, I'm going on to the next thing. Like, I ran those marathons. I remember during my last marathon, I crossed marker 16, mile 16, and I thought, Why am I still doing this? I've already done this so many times. I'm bored. I finished that marathon. I'm
Yeah.
still a runner. I'm a big believer in running. I think a runner's lifestyle is a intellectual lifestyle.
Right. Right.
So I'm big into running, but I'm finished running marathons. I've
Right.
done it. I've gone on to the next thing. There are some things that, like, I don't need to ride a camel up the Wadi Rum again,
Yep.
but I might want to go back to Jerusalem, or and I can always go back to Paris.
Right.
I was going to Russia. I don't think I'm going to get to do that, but I'm going back to Tokyo,
Nice.
and we're going probably back to Shanghai too.
Wicked. Great city, crazy city. If when you come to Hong Kong, I will happily show you the amazing things that will make your mind pop for sure. So look, these hours go by very quickly. Russell Little. One more time, the title of your book coming out in October.
Murder for Me is out. Murder by Storm comes out in October.
I love it. This has been absolutely great. Absolutely great. That you're exactly the person I needed to meet. And yeah, thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Thank you very much. This has been a blast.
Okay, well, that's my promise. Well, my goal is to give you a great conversation, and you deliver. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Oh, baby, I like